All right, so skill number one, copying this down, skill number one for solving systems of equations by substitution. The first skill we're going to learn is setting up equations. Okay, setting up equations. So you're going to use the worksheet that I gave you, and we're going to go through each question, and all we're going to do is set up the equation. That's all we're going to do. Okay? When you set up an equation, there's two questions you need to ask yourself. Question number one, what are the two subjects being discussed? What are the two subjects being discussed? That's the first question you're going to ask yourself. Second question is, what am I looking for? Okay? So what two subjects are being discussed, and what am I looking for? So as I read question number one, I want you to be thinking about what are the two subjects that this question is talking about. Because as soon as I'm done, I'm going to ask you, and I want you to tell me. Okay? So I'm on the side that says worksheet 1. Make sure you're on the same side as me. And worksheet 1 says a car rental agency rents sedans at $45 per day and convertibles at $65 per day. On one particular day, 52 cars were rented for a total of $1,680. Which statement shows the correct number of sedans and convertibles rented? Raise your hand and tell me, what are the two subjects being discussed? Good. Sedans and convertibles. They're just different types of cars. Okay? Sedans and convertibles. So that's going to tell you what your variables are going to be. You can use any variable you want. I think it makes sense to use letters that start the word so you remember what they stand for. So let's use S for sedans and C for convertibles. Okay? S for sedans, C for convertibles. Okay? And second question I need to ask myself is, what am I looking for? When I say what am I looking for, what is the question asking me? Usually it's the last question. It says, which statement shows the correct number of sedans and convertibles rented? So that means they want to know sedans, how many sedans, and how many convertibles. So up to the side, we're going to write that. My answer needs to tell me the number of sedans and the number of convertibles. The reason why I'm doing that is because these questions can get so long, you forget what you're doing or why you're doing it. So if you write down from the beginning what the answer is, what you're looking for, then as you're working out the question, you kind of remember where you're going. Okay? So remember, skill number one is what? I knew somebody was going to say that. What is skill number one? Setting up equations. We're not solving yet. All we're learning to do right now is set up the equation. Okay? So all you're going to learn how to set up the equation. So, read the question. See what information they give you. They tell you that sedans are rented at $45 per day. So $45 per day for a sedan. 45S. Plus convertibles, which are $65 a day. So 65C. Altogether, how much money did they make in one day, Charlie? 1,680. So that's one equation. You always have to write two equations for a system of equations. easy one. It says, on one particular day, 32 cars were rented. Some of those cars were sedans. Some of those cars were convertibles. But how much total? Well, how many cars were rented? 32. 32 cars were rented. So sedans plus convertibles rented equals 32. So that's the easy one. Okay? This one is talking about money. So you see all the numbers here have to do with money. All of these numbers are dollars. You shouldn't mix them up. All of this is talking about money. This is talking about the number of cars that were rented. Raise your hand if you don't understand. So that makes sense? If you get this far, then you're good. That's all I want you to know how to do right now. Set up the equations. Okay? So let's try number 2. While I'm reading, I want you to be thinking, what are the 2 subjects being discussed? Okay? You think about that while I'm reading. A landscaping company placed 2 orders with the nursery. The first order was for 13 bushes and 4 trees and totaled $487. The second order was for 6 bushes and 2 trees and totaled $232. What was the cost of 1 tree? What are the 2 subjects being discussed? Max? Good. So let's say T for trees, B for bushes. Okay? Now what do we know about the trees and bushes? Look at the sentence. The first order, Miss Allen, was for 13 bushes and 4 trees. That's not a calculator. And total $487. Right? First order was for 13 bushes, 4 trees, and how much is the total? 487. So that's the first order. 13 bushes, 4 trees equals $487. Okay? What about the second order?
6 bushes.
So what do I write?
6B plus 2C plus 2T equals 232.
Good. You get that far, you're done with skill number 1. That's it. Raise your hand if you don't understand.
Yes. Instead of putting like the SLC, can you also put the number?
You mean don't write SLC?
Yeah, just put.
No, you have to write SLC. Because that's what you're going to be trying to figure out. Remember what's your answer?
Wait, you didn't do the same thing for the bushes.
What do you mean?
Oh, no.
Only thing I didn't do for number 2 is I forgot to write down what we're looking for. We didn't answer the second question. What is the answer going to be for number 2? What is the cost of 1 tree? So what variable are we looking for? T. Okay? Tree. T. So that's the only thing I forgot to do is I didn't write down in advance what we're looking for. Okay? Any questions on this one? All right, skip number 3. We're going to go to number 4. It says Matt and Bailey are selling fruit for a school fundraiser. Matt sold 3 small boxes of oranges and 14 large boxes of oranges for a total of $203. Bailey sold 11 small boxes of oranges and 11 large boxes of oranges for a total of $220. What is the cost of 1 large box of oranges? So what are the 2 things that we're talking about? Raise your hand. What are the 2 things that we're talking about? Kimberly.
Small box of oranges and a large box.
Good. Small small boxes of oranges and large boxes of oranges. Okay? Small boxes of oranges and large boxes of oranges. I meant to tell you not to write on these, but I see some of you already did. It's not a really big deal, but this is supposed to go in your notes because you're not going to have enough space to fit everything we write on that paper. Okay? So I prefer if you didn't write on these because you're going to do something with it later. All right, so small boxes of oranges, large boxes of oranges. What is that? What are we looking for? What is my answer going to be?
Small.
Huh?
Large box of
Wait, the cost.
What letter?
L.
Good. Okay. They asked what is the cost of one large box. So we're looking for a large box cost. So let's see, what can I write? It says Matt sold 3 small boxes of oranges and 14 large boxes of oranges for a total of $203. You know it, Diana? Go ahead.
3S plus 14L equals 203.
Good. And then it says Bailey sold 11 small and 11 large for a total of $220. Charlie.
11 S plus 11 L equals 220.
Good. You get this far, you're done with skill number 1. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you, then you're on your own. Okay, look at number 5. It says a test consists of 20 questions worth 100 points. The test has multiple choice questions and worth 3 points each, and fill in response questions worth 11 points each. How many multiple choice questions are on the test? So what are the 2 things that we're talking about? Diego.
Multiple choice questions and fill in response.
Good. So let's say M for multiple choice, F for fill in response. Okay? M for multiple choice, F for fill in response. Now, what do we know? This question, you have to kind of think about it. We don't know how many multiple choice questions there are. Oh, that's what we're looking for, right? So, which variable is our answer going to be? M. Okay, so we don't know how many multiple choice questions. We don't know how many fill-in response questions. But do we know how many questions altogether?
Yes.
How many?
120.
How many questions are on the test?
100.
Read the first sentence. How many questions are on the test?
20 questions.
Thank you. So when you add all the multiple choice questions and all the fill-in response questions, you get 20 questions. So you have to think about it a little bit. Okay? Now we know the points. How many points are the multiple choice questions?
100 points.
3. 30 points each.
It says worth 100 points.
How many points are the multiple choice questions only? 3 points each. How many points are the fill-in response questions?
If you say 100, what?
How many points total on the test?
11. 100. Oh, total.
Total. Who doesn't understand this equation? Okay? Each, when they say each, 3 points each, or they tell you $7 each, that's letting you know that that number has to go with that variable when they say each. When they say a total, that's letting you know it's going to be the equals. Okay? So if you get this far, you're good. You can stop recording. Okay?